CAPM Project Management Key Concept. Audio First Set. Section 1. Video. Course Overview. Effective project management results in positive outcomes and delivers value to your organization. In this course, I'll introduce fundamental project terms and concepts. I'll talk about projects, programs, and portfolios and their key characteristics. And finally, I'll introduce adaptive and predictive project management. This course can be used in preparation for the Certified Associate in Project Management exam. Section 2. Video. Key project terms. In this topic, we're going to discuss the key terms in project management, and let's first start by talking about the definition of a project. Projects are endeavors that are distinct from routine operations or ongoing activities within an organization. They're characterized by several key attributes. First, they are temporary. Projects have a defined beginning and end. They're not permanent or ongoing activities, but have a specific duration. Once the project's objectives are achieved, it's typically closed or phased out. They're also unique. Projects are unique in nature. They involve creating something that's different from routine processes or existing products, services, or results. Each project has its own set of objectives, scope, and requirements, making it distinct from previous or future projects. Projects are also undertaken to produce a specific and tangible outcome. This outcome can take various forms, including a physical product, an intangible service, or a defined result. For example, a construction project produces a building which is a product, while a marketing project could provide a new advertising campaign, which is a result. Now, project outcomes refer to the specific, measurable, and often tangible consequences or achievement that results from the successful execution of a project, and these outcomes can be characterized by several key attributes. For example, project outcomes are the ultimate results or deliverables that a project aims to produce. They're concrete, specific, and often quantifiable, making it clear whether the project has achieved its objectives. For example, in a construction project, the outcome could be the completed building, while in a software development project, it could be the working application. Project outcomes typically involve some form of change. They represent a transformation from the project's initial state to a new state that aligns with the project's objectives. This change can take various forms, like a new product or improved process. In essence, project outcomes reflect the difference made by the project's efforts. Project outcomes can have both positive and negative aspects. Positive outcomes are those that bring benefits, value, or improvements to the organization or stakeholders. They could include increased revenue, enhanced customer satisfaction, or improved efficiency. At the same time, negative outcomes are those that result in adverse consequences like cost overruns, missed deadlines, or unsatisfied stakeholders. Now, project outcomes often have a broad focus impacting multiple facets of an organization or its environment. While the project may have specific objectives, the outcomes can have ripple effects across various areas. For example, a project to implement sustainable practices in a manufacturing plant may lead to positive outcomes such as reduced environmental impact, improved brand reputation, and even cost savings. Portfolios, in the context of project management, refer to a strategic management approach that brings together four elements to ensure that they collectively contribute to the achievement of the organization's overarching strategic goals. And these elements include, for example, projects. Now projects, which are individual temporary endeavors with specific objectives, timelines, and resources dedicated to achieving those objectives. Projects are the building blocks of a portfolio and typically contribute to the realization of an organization's strategic goals. There's also programs. Now, programs are collections of related projects that are managed and coordinated together to achieve a larger and more complex set of objectives that individual projects alone can't accomplish. Programs provide a structured framework for aligning projects with strategic goals, and they often involve interdependencies between projects and may share resources, risks, and stakeholders. There's also subsidiary portfolios. Subsidiary portfolios are subsets of the overall portfolio, often focusing on a specific business unit or a department or functional area within the organization. They allow for a more targeted approach to managing projects and programs that directly relate to a particular aspect of the organization's strategy. For example, a technology company might have a subsidiary portfolio for its research and development projects. And lastly, there's operations. Now, operations refer to the ongoing day-to-day activities that sustain an organization. Unlike projects and programs, which have a defined start and end, operations are continuous and necessary for the organization's ongoing existence and functioning. Operations can include things like customer support or routine maintenance. Now, a product is a tangible or intangible item or component of an item that is produced. It's typically quantifiable, and it has key characteristics. So like I said, it can be produced. A product is something that is created or manufactured through a deliberate process. It involves the transformation of raw materials or resources or inputs into a finished item or component. Now, this process can vary widely depending on the nature of the product, like manufacturing a physical product or developing software or delivering a service. A product is also quantifiable. Now, that means that it can be measured or counted in some way. This measurement can take various forms, though, so that includes physical dimensions like size or numerical values like revenue generated. This quantifiability helps in assessing its quality, its performance, and even its impact. And lastly, a product is an item or a component of an item. A product outcome can be stand-alone or part of a larger item. So for example, a smartphone is a product, but so is the screen on the smartphone or even its battery. Now, a program is a strategic initiative that is designed to address specific strategic objectives or benefits that are difficult to achieve through individual projects alone. Programs provide a structured framework for managing complex interrelated efforts, ensuring that alignment with the organization's strategic goals and optimize resource utilization. So what is a program? Well, it includes projects, related projects. Projects within a program are individual temporary endeavors with specific objectives and timelines. But these projects are interrelated and interconnected within a program. Subsidiary programs are also potentially part of a program. They're collections of related projects that are managed and coordinated under the umbrella of the main program. And these subsidiary programs may have their own specific objectives and may be managed separately, but they support and contribute to the overall program goals. And program activities are the ongoing efforts and tasks that are necessary to plan, execute, monitor, and control the program as a whole. Now, two other key definitions are project management. Project management is a systematic and disciplined approach to planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling projects. It involves applying knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to meet project requirements and achieve its objectives effectively. Meanwhile, a project manager is an individual that's responsible for leading and overseeing a project from beginning to end. The project manager is tasked with ensuring that the project's objectives are met and that it's completed successfully. But there's also a project team. A project team is a group of individuals that are assembled to work collaboratively on a specific project, typically with diverse skills, expertise, and roles. And they're used to achieve the project's objectives and define constraints. And they have lots of key responsibilities. For example, they execute tasks and produce deliverables. They provide expertise, they define requirements, and they liaise with stakeholders. And of course, they report their progress to the project manager and any others about their work. Now, when you think about value, value refers to worth, benefit, or utility that a product, service, or action provides to its intended recipients or stakeholders. And it's often measured in terms of customer satisfaction, outcomes or benefits related to the cost or effort invested. And there's different kinds of value. For example, there's business value. Now, business value is a concept that's closely related to value, but specific to organizations. It represents the benefits, returns, or advantages that an organization derives from its investments or its initiatives. Then there's also the value delivery system. A value delivery system is the set of processes, resources, and activities within an organization that work together to create, deliver, and capture value for customers or stakeholders. It includes the entire value chain from product development and production to distribution, marketing, and customer support. Section 3, Video. Project Characteristics. Effective project definition lays the foundation for successful project management and increases the likelihood of achieving desired outcomes within the constraints of time, budget, and resources. In this topic, we're going to discuss some key characteristics of projects. To succeed, projects must be specific and well-defined from the outset, which involves several critical elements. A specific project requires a clear structure that outlines its scope, objectives, and the roles and responsibilities of the team members. Without this structured foundation, a project can easily drift off course, leading to confusion and inefficiency. Now, projects must have clear, measurable goals and associated benefits. These goals serve as the project's guiding star, providing direction and purpose. Well-defined benefits help justify the project's existence and ensure that it aligns with the organization's broader objectives. Projects also need to be broken down into defined milestones or stages, each with its own set of tasks and deadlines. Now, this not only helps track progress, but also allows for early detection and mitigation of potential issues. Similarly, having a detailed cost breakdown is really important for budget management and resource allocation. Effective project management relies on comprehensive reporting and planning. This involves regularly tracking project metrics, so that includes things like progress and budget and risks, and adjust the plan as needed as a result. Detailed planning ensures that all aspects of the project are considered and that potential roadblocks are addressed proactively. Communication is at the heart of any successful project. Clear and consistent communication channels need to be established among team members, stakeholders, and leadership. This ensures that everyone is on the same page. It also reduces misunderstandings and helps to manage expectations. Projects need to be measurable to assess their success and impact. Measuring projects in terms of monetary benefits is important because it provides a clear financial justification for the project's existence. It allows organizations to determine whether the project will deliver a return on investment and helps in resource allocation decisions. However, projects often produce a wide range of outcomes that extend beyond monetary gains, and these can include tangible benefits like the completion of a physical product or service, and intangible benefits like improved customer satisfaction, enhanced brand reputation, or increased employee morale. Measuring these non-monetary aspects is equally important because they contribute to an organization's overall success and competitiveness. Projects also need to be achievable to succeed. Firstly, setting realistic expectations for the team is vital. This involves understanding the team's capabilities, the resources, and any constraints. Overly ambitious goals can lead to burnout and decreased morale. Realistic expectations ensure that team members can perform at their very best without undue stress. Secondly, cost control is important. Overspending can jeopardize a project's success. Basically, by maintaining a tight grip on costs, organizations ensure that they stay within budget and maximize the return on their investment. This involves monitoring expenditures, identifying cost-saving opportunities, and adjusting the project as needed. Lastly, an achievable schedule is important too. Unrealistic timelines can lead to rushed work, quality issues, and even project delays. Project managers must carefully plan and allocate sufficient time for each phase, accounting for potential setbacks and adjustments. Projects also need to be relevant. Relevance ensures that a project aligns with an organization's strategic objectives and addresses a genuine need. When projects stay pertinent, they continue to provide value by contributing to the organization's goals, whether that's increasing revenue, improving customer satisfaction, or enhancing efficiency. Conversely, irrelevant projects may result in wasted time, money, and effort. They divert resources away from initiatives that could have a more significant impact on the organization. To maintain relevance, it's really important to regularly assess projects, adapting to discontinuing those that no longer serve a meaningful purpose. And finally, projects are inherently time-bound. A defined timeline sets clear expectations for project delivery. It establishes deadlines and milestones that keep the project on track and provide a sense of urgency, helping teams stay focused and motivated. And that includes all stages within the timeline, which ensures that nothing is overlooked. So from project initiation, planning, execution, monitoring to closure, every phase is accounted for. This comprehensive approach helps inefficient resource allocation and risk management. And lastly, while adhering to a timeline is important, it's equally important to allow for justified adjustments. Projects can encounter unforeseen challenges or changes in scope, and flexibility is necessary to accommodate these shifts without compromising the project's success. Adjustments may be carefully evaluated and justified to maintain the project's overall objectives and quality. Section 4. Video. Program characteristics. A program is a structured and coordinated collection of interrelated projects and initiatives. These projects share common goals and objectives and are managed collectively to maximize efficiency and effectiveness in achieving strategic outcomes. In this topic, we're going to discuss key characteristics of programs. Firstly, programs are designed to focus on overall outcomes or strategic objectives. Now, unlike individual projects that have specific deliverables and timelines, programs are concerned with achieving broader goals that often require multiple projects to work in tandem. Program managers take a holistic view, ensuring that every project within the program contributes to the larger objectives. Now, this means aligning project scopes and aligning their timelines, and even aligning resource allocation to the strategic vision of the organization. Secondly, programs excel at managing interdependencies. Now, many strategic initiatives involve complex relationships between various projects. So, for example, completing one project may depend on the results of another, or resources may need to be shared efficiently between these projects. Program managers actively identify, monitor, and mitigate these interdependencies to ensure that all projects progress smoothly and don't hinder each other's success. These program managers establish communication channels and contingency plans to address potential bottlenecks or conflicts. So, as I said, programs are strategic initiatives that prioritize the overall benefits that an organization seeks to achieve. Programs are designed to align with an organization's strategic goals and long-term vision. They're comprehensive in nature. They encompass multiple projects that collectively contribute to the achievement of strategic objectives. Program managers have a broader perspective, ensuring that all projects within the program work together cohesively to maximize benefits. Program managers consider not only the immediate project outcomes, but also the long-term impact on the organization. Now, in contrast, projects have a narrower focus, concentrating on completing specific tasks or creating predefined deliverables within a set time frame and budget. Project managers are primarily concerned with meeting project goals and managing resources efficiently. So, for example, let's pretend we wanted to create a smartphone. There might be a program manager that manages all of the aspects of the smartphone, but then there might be project managers that work on battery life or screen or operating systems. Programs are characterized by their longer-term duration and their comprehensive approach to achieving specific organizational objectives. Within a program, multiple projects and subcomponents are carefully defined and coordinated to work in synergy. A program's longevity is typically aligned with an organization's strategic horizon, often spanning several years. This extended time frame allows for the phased execution of various projects, each with its own timeline and goals. So if you wanted to create a very modern smartphone, you might start with a simple MP3 player. A critical aspect of programs is the clear definition of all of the projects and their subcomponents. So program managers break down the larger objectives into smaller, manageable projects, each with its set of tasks and deliverables. This hierarchical structure helps in tracking progress and resource allocation efficiently. On top of that, programs incorporate a well-defined vision and roadmap. The vision articulates the long-term goals and the long-term desired outcomes, providing a guiding light for the entire program. The roadmap outlines the sequence of projects and events and their interdependencies, ensuring that they align with the vision and are executed in a logical order. In essence, programs bring together projects and subcomponents within a longer-term framework, driven by a clear vision and a carefully crafted roadmap. And all of this is to strategically advance an organization's goals and its initiatives. And finally, program benefits in program management context are often realized incrementally, which means that they accrue gradually over time rather than all at once. This incremental realization of benefits occurs because programs typically involve multiple interconnected projects, each with its own set of objectives and deliverables. Now, as these projects progress and achieve their individual goals, they contribute to the overall program's success. These achievements, while not necessarily the program's final intended benefits, are super important stepping stones towards that ultimate goal. Section 5, Video, Portfolio Characteristics. In this topic, we're going to discuss key characteristics of portfolios. Portfolios, in the context of project and program management, are like strategic powerhouses for organizations. Imagine them as a carefully curated collection of projects and programs, all working together to collectively achieve an organization's most critical strategic objectives. At their core, portfolios are a way to group related projects and programs under a unified strategic vision. This grouping ensures that every project and program within the portfolio contribute to the organization's overarching goal. So to give you an example, imagine that we wanted to create a smartphone. Now we might have a collection of projects, and each project might be responsible for battery or a screen or operating system. And you would have a program that would be all about creating that smartphone. But you might have a portfolio that is all about creating smartphones and tablets and personal computers, and so on. Portfolio management offers several key benefits that are instrumental in enhancing an organization's efficiency and strategic alignment. Firstly, it aligns projects with organizational strategy. By grouping related projects and programs within a portfolio, organizations ensure that every initiative contributes directly to their strategic objectives. This alignment reduces the risk of pursuing projects that do not fit the overarching strategy. Secondly, it streamlines resources. Portfolio management allows for better resource allocation across projects and programs. It ensures that resources like budget, personnel, and time are distributed optimally to support the highest priority initiatives. This efficiency prevents resource overextension on one project at the expense of others. And lastly, it creates project synergy. When projects and programs within a portfolio are managed cohesively, they can benefit from shared knowledge, resources, and expertise. This synergy leads to improved communication, reduced duplication of efforts, and more effective risk management, ultimately increasing the likelihood of project success. Portfolio management includes two key activities. First is the initial phase where potential project ideas are evaluated. It involves gathering project proposals, often from various departments or teams within the organization. During this assessment, criteria like feasibility, alignment with strategic goals, potential risks, and expected benefits are analyzed. Project ideas that don't align with the organization's strategic vision or lack feasibility may be discarded at this stage. So if we have a strategic vision that involves creating all of these personal computers or various other electronics, and somebody comes to you and says, hey, why don't we manage horses? You can probably throw that project idea out. Now, once project ideas are assessed, the next step is prioritization. This involves ranking projects based on their strategic importance and potential impact on the organization. Prioritization helps ensure that limited resources are allocated to the projects with the highest strategic value. Techniques like cost-benefit analysis, risk assessment, and stakeholder input are commonly used to determine project priority. Strategic integration in portfolio management is the process of aligning an organization's projects and programs with its strategic goals to maximize their collective impact. Project proposals and ideas are assessed against the organization's strategic objectives. Once projects are assessed, the next step is to align them with the organization's strategic priorities. This ensures that the selected projects contribute directly to the achievement of strategic goals, enhancing the organization's competitive advantage and long-term success. Effective communication is clearly important too, so stakeholders need to understand how each project fits into the larger strategic picture. Clear communication helps to secure support and buy-in from key stakeholders, ensuring that everyone is working toward the same strategic objectives, and portfolio managers must balance risk across the portfolio. This involves diversifying risk by spreading it across various projects and programs, and ensures that if one project encounters unforeseen challenges, the overall portfolio can still progress towards your strategic goals. Portfolio management governance is a structured framework that oversees and controls the various projects and programs within a portfolio, ensuring that they align with an organization's strategic objectives. Portfolio management governance involves continuous monitoring of projects and programs, and this includes tracking progress, performance, risks, and resource utilization. Key performance indicators, or KPIs, are established to gauge success. Regular reporting keeps stakeholders informed on top of that. It sets up a systematic approval process for projects and programs. Criteria are defined to assess factors like financial viability, strategic alignment, and risk. A governance board or committee oversees these approvals to ensure that they align with the organization's strategic direction. And comprehensive documentation is maintained, including project charters, business cases, budgets, and risk assessments. That's all part of governance. This documentation serves as a record of decisions, actions, and agreements, promoting transparency and accountability throughout the portfolio management process. And finally, successful portfolio management extends beyond initial planning and approval phases. Portfolio management involves ongoing tracking and assessment of projects and program results. This means measuring how well each initiative is performing against established KPIs and strategic objectives. It's about understanding whether the expected benefits are being realized and if there's any deviations from the plan. Tracking results allows for timely intervention, making adjustments as needed to ensure that the portfolio stays aligned with organizational goals. And lastly, portfolio management is not a one-time process, but a continuous one. It requires active oversight and adaptation. This includes regular reviews and updates to the portfolio strategy to ensure it remains in line with the ever-changing business environment. It also involves resource allocation adjustments, risk management, and realigning priorities as new information and challenges come up. Continual management is about staying agile and responsive to evolving organizational needs and external factors. Section 6. Video. Projects versus operations. In project management, distinguishing between projects and operations is fundamental to effective planning and execution. In this topic, we're going to compare projects and operations. Understanding the project's conclusion is crucial for resource allocation, cost control, and determining success. It typically involves the completion of all project deliverables, quality assurance, and stakeholder acceptance. Transitioning from project mode to operations mode is equally significant. It marks the point where the project's outputs are integrated into daily business activities. Projects are structured endeavors that are distinct from routine operations. Projects have a finite duration. They begin with a clear start date and end when their objectives are achieved, or when they're terminated for various reasons like achieving their goals or simply running out of resources. Projects are unique and specific to their objectives. They're not repetitive or routine in nature. Each project is a one-time effort, often tailored to address a particular need or problem. Now, the primary purpose of a project is to create a tangible output or outcome, and this can be a physical product or a service, or a specific result like a report or a new software application, or a marketing campaign. Projects are initiated to bring about change and innovation. They create new value by introducing something that did not previously exist or by improving existing processes, products, or even services. And there's diverse purposes for projects. Projects often arise when organizations identify opportunities for growth or recognize a pressing business need. For example, launching a new product line or expanding into a new market in response to customer demand can be the purpose behind a project. Now, some projects are born out of a desire to address social issues or improve the well-being of communities. Initiatives like building affordable housing, providing clean water, or launching education programs fall into this category. Rapid technological advancements can spark projects aimed at harnessing new technologies to gain a competitive edge or enhance operational efficiency. Developing cutting-edge software or implementing automation processes are common examples. Customer feedback and requests can also be driving forces behind projects. Businesses often undertake projects to meet customer expectations like enhancing user experience on a website or adding new features to an existing product. Changes in market dynamics or shifts in consumer preferences can lead to projects designed to capitalize on emerging trends. For example, launching eco-friendly product lines in response to increased environmental awareness, or lately we've seen a big jump in AI. Regulatory changes or legal mandates can necessitate projects to ensure compliance. These projects aim to adapt business practices or products or services to adhere to new laws and regulations. But let's switch over to operations. Operations refers to the repetitive and ongoing activities that are the lifeblood of an organization's daily function. Operations involves tasks that are carried out regularly, often according to established procedures and routines. These tasks are predictable and follow a set pattern, ensuring consistency and efficiency. Now, unlike projects which have specific start and end dates, operations are continuous. They are not time-bound and are essential for maintaining the status quo, delivering products or services to customers, and sustaining the organization's core functions. Operations encompass a wide range of activities from manufacturing and customer support to administrative tasks and financial management. The focus in operations is on consistency, optimization, and the reliable execution of processes that keep the business running smoothly day in and day out. So let's take a minute to talk about the key characteristics of operations. First, operations involves tasks and activities that are performed routinely. Unlike projects, operations do not have specific end dates. They're ongoing and continue as long as the organization exists or until a deliberate decision is made to change or discontinue them. Operations are deeply ingrained in an organization's existing systems and processes. They rely on the infrastructure, workflows, and procedures that have already been established to support the core functions of the business. In operations, cost and resource requirements are generally known and predictable. Organizations have a good understanding of the resources like personnel, materials, and equipment that are needed to sustain operations. And operations are typically associated with lower levels of risk compared to projects. Since operations are based on established practices and systems, the element of uncertainty and complexity often accompanies projects is reduced. And finally, let's explore the similarities between projects and operations. First, both projects and operations involve work performed by individuals or teams within an organization. People are the driving force behind the planning, execution, and control of activities in both cases. Both projects and operations require planning, execution, and control to achieve their objectives. Planning involves defining goals, resource allocation, and establishing processes. Execution entails carrying out the planned activities, while control involves monitoring progress and making necessary adjustments to ensure success. And lastly, in both projects and operations, there are constraints on resources such as time, budget, and even people. Efficient resource management is essential to meet goals while staying within these limitations. Continue to next audio set.